It was a great day, actually. I think both from the inspiration of seeing a lot of case studies, but also some of the debate and the conversation we had with other judges in terms of hearing what different people see as the strengths of different campaigns. So yeah, really, really good day.
Let's talk about the campaigns first. Tell me what kind of insights and trends you were seeing today. Tell me what you saw.
Yeah, I think one of the key trends we saw was a real blending between media and creativity. So a lot of the campaigns we were debating, where does the media bit end and the creative part, and it's a media award, so how do we make sure we are celebrating the media part? But I think these days those two things are just incredibly blurred, and that's great to see media becoming more creative and more inspirational. Quite a few campaigns that we saw in multiple different categories, which I think is great. That, the same campaign can be recognised in several different ways for several different aspects.
What was it like having all those different minds from the industry in there? Some rivals possibly in there, some colleagues possibly. What was that like? What was the debate like?
Yeah, the judges are a real blend from different countries, different industries, agency, client side. So I think you do get a lot of different perspectives, and the same two people can watch the same case study and take really different things out of it. I think that's part of the brilliance of an award ceremony like this, that I come with a sort of British FMCG perspective, and as someone who's coming from China, worked in the tech industry, and has a completely different perspective on what's possible and what isn't. And I think that's really, really healthy in terms of trying to find the absolute best cases from around the world.
And did you find that most people's opinions were in line with each other, or was there some debate going on?
There were different debates. When people would have their first sort of thinking and scoring, and then that would come up in the room, and some people would be shocked that their favourite wasn't even in consideration. And we had some cases where at the beginning of a discussion, something that was literally coming last, given a sort of really healthy backer and a real discussion about why that person, what they really saw in that campaign, actually changed a lot of people's minds. So yeah, definitely two people can have quite different opinions of the same campaign. Yeah.
And was it the usual suspects? Were there any surprises? Were you blown away? Were you disappointed? Tell me about your overall takeaways from the whole session.
We had some of the usual suspects, some of the the world's biggest brands in there. It's also always nice to stumble upon a sort of a local case study or a local brand for something you've never heard of in a market you've no contact with.
Let's say there may be someone who sees this, who's been sat on the fence as to whether they should enter the awards, whether they should get involved. What would you say to them to maybe push them over the line?
Yeah, I think these awards are a really important part of the industry calendar. They kind of set a landmark of what we think is good in media, and to an extent, I guess, what we don't. I think it's really important for brands to be part of that dialogue, to sort of put their work into that and be in that mix. I think it's amazing for teams, to be selected. They're up against really, really tough competition. Yes, some of these categories do have lots and lots of entries, but there are opportunities where if you do win one of these gold awards, it's a really, really meaningful thing, and a lot of people have put thought into that. And there are some categories, actually, maybe some of the more traditional media categories, where there aren't as many entries as you'd expect to see, and actually some categories which weren't as strong as others. And it'd be great to see more entrants, more people really showing what's possible, because there are definitely campaigns I've read about, seen over the last year or so, that I would love to have seen in those awards, love to be able to vote on, and they weren't there, which is a shame.